As we approach the Battle of the Bands National Final for 2023, it gives us a chance to reflect on our history with this competition. For Chris and I, it starts in 2015, when as two confident 20-year-olds we made our way over to the now closed Bodega Bar in Wellington. We competed in the heats. Unfortunately, we didn't read the forms properly, and because of this we had no audience votes whatsoever, so we didn't make it past the first round. Our good friends from Wellington, Baker's Eddy, who we competed against in that very year, made it all the way to the end and won the coveted 10-day tour of Europe that had every young Kiwi band salivating. 1 year and one drummer later, we found ourselves staring down the barrel of the Battle of the Bands website filled with excitement. There was 6 weeks until the competition began, and we signed up straight away. We just brought Jordan into the band and we had some serious work to do. We practiced once, sometimes twice a week leading up to this, and we had built a strong set of some Dead Zephyr goodness. The Palmerston North Heats for 2016 were held at the Royal, a great palmy venue for all types of music, which for us was closer and it was easier for us to get people into the shows. We learned from our previous year's mistake in a big way. The heats for us were good, but not great. Some technical difficulties had us worried, but we made it through. The local press back home with the Whited Upper Times Age picked up a small story on us leading into the regional final, and we started to pick up a bit of local band buzz. Coming into the regionals, we were more cautious. We packed a bus full of fans, we made the journey over with a tight set, and thankfully, with no technical difficulties aside from a slight bass malfunction, we anxiously awaited the results.
So, without any further ado, one band in particular came out higher than everybody else on both the judges and the audience votes tonight, so that was a no-brainer, and that band that is definitely going through is band number 5, the Dead Zephyrs.
With that, we were on our way to nationals. The local buzz was incredible. We had radio interviews, newspaper articles, and kudos from folks all over the Whited Upper and beyond. We fundraised to get there with a raffle, with prizes kindly donated by some shops here in Masterton, and some of our hometown heroes reached out to offer some support, and some of them offered donations as well. A bright red Ford Transit was our chariot, and State Highway 1 was our path. We packed up and hit the road. But unfortunately for us, this is where the tragedy struck.
I hear something or other about a snapped clutch cable in Tokoroa.
Yeah, good times. Yeah, great.
The journey started out okay. We drove all the way to Tokoroa, pulled over for a toilet stop, and as we pulled back onto the road, we heard a massive bang and we had snapped a clutch cable on the Dead Zephyrs family fun bus. It was 7 p.m, it was getting dark. We managed to find an after-hours diesel mechanic, but that costed us $175 an hour for 4 hours work, and by the end of it, we hadn't even got it fixed. Now we found ourselves cold, hungry, cashless, and had no place to go. Thankfully, the mechanic and his family were gracious enough to let us stay in their house, which much to our horror at the time was filled with cats. The odour and fur was incredibly overwhelming, but we were thankful nonetheless. The next 12 hours were a bit of a blur. My parents drove up to Tokoroa and sourced a clutch cable which fixed us up. We turned up to the now closed King's Arms Tavern and drew our placing out of a hat.
Don't forget about the fact that there's nothing worse than drawing first. Yeah, remember that? Yeah.
We played as the first band on the first of 2 nights and turned up for the second evening, anxiously awaiting the results. We ended this campaign in defeat, and it really did dash our hopes. And then, for a long time, we watched the years go by. Posters for Battle of the Bands came and went. We would tell tales of our journey to anyone who would listen about how much we missed this competition. Then, a few years later, after many small gigs and many cover shows, in 2020 the world went into lockdown. The Dead Zephyrs decided to call it there, not knowing what the future held. And then, one day in 2023, Jordan reached out and asked us if we were interested in getting back together and adding a new layer to the sounds with guitarist Brian Belomini. After working with Brian in the past, we were definitely interested. We had a practice and we talked about what we wanted to do with the Dead Zephyrs this time. We had no idea how to spark it back up for us, and lo and behold, a Battle of the Bands poster pops up on my social media. We had 8 weeks before it began, which was strangely familiar, so with that same level of excitement from all those years ago, we signed up and decided to go for it. Since then, we've played our way through the Wellington Heats, semis, and regional final to an incredible response from fans both old and new. We once again find ourselves in the throes of the national finals, and now we pass the story off to you. How will we go? Will we take it all the way this time? You'll have to come along and see. Saturday, October 14th, 8 PM at Valhalla. Tickets are available from Event Finder. We'll see you there.